Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Essential Witch. Tonight's show is going to be all about Earth Witchcraft. Because in the first show, I told you guys that I do Earth Witchcraft, I do Kitchen Witchcraft, I do a little bit of hoodoo, I do a little bit of everything. I do Fey Magic, which I'll get into on another show. But tonight I wanted to break it down to just some of the Earth Witchcraft so you guys would know what that's all about. It's very similar to natural witchcraft and nature witchcraft, but I wanted to break it down just a little bit. You're basically part of being a naturalist, an herbalist, a wise woman, and a healer. You're the guardians of nature, of humanity's relationship with the earth. Individualized, and it's usually a solitary form, a free form path, so to speak. Spells tend to be loosely structured, performing magic by connecting intuitively with the natural world and creating a channel of communication between the world of nature and to be disconnected from humans of the modern world. So you basically are getting more in tune with the natural side and a little less in tune with the human side. You use your intuition above anything else. So if you are an empath, this is a good way for you to be able to use some of that. Much of the magic performed is sympathetic magic. The power comes from participating in the miracle that is life, just attuning to the energies of the environment around you. You'll tap into existing energy around you and around the earth. Unlike traditional witchcraft where you're raising energy and that's your goal, earth magic is slowly aligning to separate worlds. An earth witch can live in the city or the country. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if they have a full-blown garden or just a couple of herbs in the windowsill or just some fresh herbs in a drawer. They're not limited to working with just plants, trees, or herbs, however. Healing and harmony, balance, these are the keys to this path, which is focused on the earth, your local environment. You want to stay focused on your local environment as well as the planet. So in other words, you don't want to just worry about the entire planet, but outside your house as well. Humanity in general, as well as your local community and a circle of friends and family and yourself. A big part of this form of the craft is taking care of yourself, and that is not selfish. People need to understand that. We can't take care of others if we have not taken care of ourselves first. Just as nature has energy and it affects us, our energy also affects it, and not always in a positive manner. This is why an earth witch will strive to find harmony between the division of nature and humanity. You must also find a balance in the realities of our own lives as well. An earth witch does not necessarily worship the gods or goddesses either. An earth witch may find a mythical feature or a deity, a hero, or some other personal belief in energy. Some, like myself, will work with the elements the way many people work with a god or goddess or deity. You understand that you are the manifestation of the earth itself and not just the caretaker. If you do have a deity that you do worship, you can worship with them and work with them in a partnership, just as they work with the energies. An earth witch can also may or may not be a pagan. You are the one that's creating the magic. Not all witches who are earth witches are pagans, because they do work. Some do not work with deities, so some are not. They will not consider themselves pagan. It is a spiritual path, but it is not necessarily equated to a religion. An earth witch is adaptable and not structured. Some do not celebrate holidays and have no rituals. They'll create their own path with their own strengths and talents and energies and the supplies that are local to their home. Being an earth witch is a celebration of life. Being an earth witch, it's an exchange of energies that have their own dialogue. Looking for a balance and harmony in everything is what you're doing. There are no ethical or moral rules associated with this path other than those of that the practitioner already has. So there is no there's no laws, there's none of that. It begins with learning about ourselves. You have to learn about yourself before you can start walking down this path. Once you are with your environment, and you know what effects will happen to your surroundings with whatever you do, that will bring you closer to following this path. Every day is sacred. That's the way we look at it. I mean, if you wake up in the morning and you're upright and above ground, it's a sacred day. Nature in itself is magical. To an earth witch, it's similar to a kitchen witch. The mundane is magical. Everything is magical. Spellcraft is perfectly natural. Brewing a cup of rosemary tea for a headache is both magic and natural medicine. So basically, you're brewing that tea like a magical potion, but you're also using it in a healing manner because you're making it for a headache. There's no separation between a spell and healing in earth magic. They're all one and the same. So if you open yourself up to the energies of nature, and by accepting that you're a part of all of the energy and power, you will allow yourself to take in the energy to rebalance yourself as well. Then you can work with these energies for other situations as well. It's always best to work with yourself first. That way you can understand how energies work, because energies are very weird to work with sometimes, and some are stronger than others. Fire energy is one of your strongest energies, where air is one of your easiest to work with. You can work with these energies from inside and out. You can move with the natural flow of energies instead of trying to manipulate them. Certain forms of witchcraft will manipulate energies and try to raise energies. This is more working with it. It's working in conjunction with the energies that are already there. You must be careful as to not let your magic become too familiar, as to not breed contempt. Notice each movement as magical and full of potential. Allow yourself to see the joy and power of nature as the seasons change throughout the year. Beauty of sunsets and storms. Look at everything like with a child's eye. That's the easiest way to explain it. Children look at things totally different than we do as adults. The things that we take for granted as an adult, children find amazing. I remember looking at my first rainbow. Now I'm just kind of like, it's a rainbow, and I have to stop myself from thinking that way, because it is actually a beautiful thing. And if you stop and take the time to look at it that way, it changes your whole outlook towards life. Like kitchen witchcraft, earth witchcraft focuses on everyday activities. There's no real special words or prayers. You don't have any obligatory tools, no specific holidays unless you create them for yourself. It's a daily practice of recognizing the sacred of every day. There are basic areas of energy that you will focus on, like harmony with all things. You just want to keep the peace. And at my age, that's all I want. I just want peace and quiet, so I try to keep the peace. Your health, mind, body, and soul. That means you're taking care of everything, your mind, your body, and your soul. So your spiritual side has to be taken care of. Your mind has to be taken care of, and your body. Love. And that's another energy you'll work with of all things, whether you like them or not. Happiness. Just finding your happiness of all things. A lot of people, I remember when I was single, I found out that you're not going to be happy with anyone if you can't be happy with yourself. So in order to find happiness in all things, you first have to find what makes you happy. And it's the same with magic. You need to find the happiness in all things. Yes, we're all going to have a bad day, and that's the way you have to look at it. Oh, it was a bad day. Well, it'll be better tomorrow. Peace with all things. Make your peace with things. Don't hold grudges. Don't hold the hate. It happens. Brush it off. Move on. Just make peace with it, because you'll be happier. Abundance. This goes in your personal, your family, and that of the natural world, which would include prosperity and fertility. And then you work with protection of all things. Earth witches are very protective witches when it comes to friends, family, and nature in itself. We're very protective. So we're just like that. To maintain harmony, you must balance all 6 of these areas. This includes harmony with yourself and with nature. Harmony between mankind and humanity are a big part of what we work on. Harmony, it's one of the most common energies that's stirred and passed along. Health affects not only our physical being, but also our mental and spiritual state. Illnesses can cause an imbalance in our personal energy, and we have to rebalance it in order to return to a healthier state. Listening and working with our body's energies will help you maintain a more balanced state as well. Love is very important. Maintaining a positive and balanced relationship with people and nature is a very important part of your emotional and spiritual balance. Keep toxic people and environments out of your life. That is a great way to start. And as an empath, if you are around toxic people or psychic vampires a lot, they will drain you to where you have absolutely no energy whatsoever. Negativity kills you as an empath. So I have gotten to a point in my life where if you are going to be completely negative or a drain on me every time I talk to you or see you, you just don't have a part in my life anymore. And it's not that I hate you, it's just that I love me and I have to take care of me. In order for me to help anyone else, I have to be okay. And if I'm drained all the time, I can't be okay. So it's not selfish to want to take care of you and cut people out of your life if you have to. And that includes family, because I have done it with family. I've done it with friends, I've done it with family. And sometimes, it just has to be done. Happiness is a joy, and it's a goal. This includes your own happiness. When you have a sense of peace and contentment within the natural world and your surroundings, this state is considered happiness. This is a very personal aspect because just one action is going to make everyone happy. So this is where you have to find it within yourself. I love my family, I do, and people who have been cut out of my family had nothing to do with my religious beliefs or what I practice or anything like that. They were just negative people that like to play games and were still in high school. So yes, I don't associate with that section of the family anymore because I can't. It's just too much on me. And, I've had friends, same thing. I've just had to remove them for my own peace of mind. Peace. Peace can mean many different things to many different people. It could be serenity, it could be relaxation, an absence of aggression, or just plain tranquility. As an earth witch, you work for tranquility and peace because a peaceful environment's energies can be directed towards more productive and positive actions instead of having to use them for defense or attack. Because earth witches do defend and they do attack. They are not all love and light. We do like peace and love and happiness and health and everything else. Just, we're not going to just sit there and let you walk on us. So, you can't let people walk on you. So you have to have somewhat of a backbone. Abundance. This is working with energies such as prosperity or fertility. When your needs are seen to and you are free to help others. You can also include ensuring the fertility and the abundance of the natural world as well. And protection. This involves safeguarding something that is precious to you. This would mean your body, the body of others, possessions, and emotional and spiritual well-being of you or another individual, or even of the natural world. When we are protected, we feel safer and free. There are really no set tools for use in the path of earth magic. There are, however, a few important items that you will use in this path. Herbs and plants and many other natural objects are used daily. Your hands are actually your most valuable tools. With a touch, you will take in information and even disperse healing and caring. Just like you hear of Reiki healers. They can touch you or they can not touch you and pass on healing that way. This is kind of the same thing. You'll feel energy through your hands, as well as dispelling energy through your hands. Touch allows you to sense energy and will create an immediate link between you and what you are touching, whether it be a plant or someone who's ill. You want to learn to use your hands to make them an extension of your thoughts and your will. A journal. This is also of importance. Some people call it a book of shadows. Some people, it's a journal. It can be used to write notes, recipes, rituals, research, rituals if you have any. Some know of these and other paths as the Book of Shadows. However, this is a bit different from what is commonly used. Because magic is a simple method of touching the energy of the earth, there is not really going to be any spells in this, mainly recipes, sketches, maps, experiments, observations, and other experiences. Over time, you may end up with a library collection of these, and yes, you will. These do not have to be perfect either. They're meant to be a real-life snapshot of your thoughts and knowledge. It's kind of similar to a daily diary. A simple cup is a very useful item as well. Water is one of the 4 elements, and a cup reserved just for holding water is a way to honor this element. However, in a pinch, any cup from your kitchen cabinet will do. In my kitchen, I have a small altar that you would never know is an altar. It is a potpourri type tea light thing that you put water in the top, a tea light in the bottom, and you can add herbs and stuff to it. That is my kitchen altar. If you come to my house, you would not know it's an altar, but it's utilizing the elements. I have water in it. I have my herbs in it. I have fire. And I can add sand if I want underneath it to bring more earth into it, or I can use earth herbs, which work just as well. And your air is what comes, the steam that comes out of it. So it's not very difficult to combine things to make them work for you. So you can have altars around your home and no one will ever know. Altars can be made many different ways too. I mean, I have one in my bathroom you wouldn't know is an altar either. It's a water altar. It's set up with just this small little tray with, it's got shells painted on it and it's got some shells on it. That's my little altar to water in my bathroom. I have altars everywhere. I have a fairy altar. I have a dragon altar. I have regular altar. I don't use them, but I have them set up because I like them. So another thing that you may need, a mortar and a pestle. I love mine. I absolutely love mine. This is a wand for crushing herbs, seeds, resins, and helping for blending. Your stone and marble are the easiest to keep clean. I have a marble one. And the weight does help with the crushing. Good standard size is about 5 inches high by 5 inches wide. Any smaller than that makes it a little harder to use. In a pinch, you can always use a bowl and a spoon, but it's going to take you a little longer and require a little more work. Some people will use herb grinders and coffee grinders. I don't see an issue with that as long as you're not going to. My mortar and pestle are not used for any herbs that I am going to eat. Reason being is I put herbs in that are toxic. So I want to make sure that I'm not cross-contaminating. Being a kitchen witch, you don't want to do that. I have a food processor that I use strictly for edible stuff, and I have a mortar and pestle that I use for herbs that cannot be eaten, I guess would be the best way to explain it. Bowls are also essential for mixing and holding ingredients. You should not need large bowls except for like a large project like mixing potpourri. Glass or glazed ceramic bowls work best. Plastic tends to absorb oils and scents. So you really don't want to, if you're using oils and stuff like that, you really don't want to do them in plastic. And you don't really want to use metal either. Go with more of your ceramic and glazed and glass. Jars and canisters are a must. I have a ton of jars and canisters. I even reuse the pill bottles, your medication bottles, which work really good if you have just a little bit of an herb, because they are in a colored container, which also helps keep the light out and keep them fresher. So, and plus I wrap a big piece of paper around them with the name of the herb on them so that I keep sunlight out of it too. So you have to have a lot of these. You'll be storing herbs, incenses, and other ingredients. Glass or ceramic are the best with tight-fitting lids. Colored glass helps preserve dried herbs from fading and losing their oils. Clear jars should be kept out of direct sunlight and in a cupboard if possible. Or you can make covers to protect them from the light because sunlight does drain all the necessary stuff out of the herbs. Knives or scissors. These are used to harvest plants and herbs. Always keep them clean and sharp. And there are no specifics on what type of knife or scissors you need. Whatever is comfortable for you. Whatever you're drawn to. If you've had your herbs for anywhere from 6 months to a year, you might want to restock. Check them. See if they are still fragrant. If they're not, then I would say poof. But after a year, definitely. This is why if you're doing anything with fresh herbs where you dry them, like I do basil and parsley and cilantro and stuff like that for cooking, date them. You want to, even if you're going to be using just for magic, any kind of herbs that you get, you want to date them because after a year, unless it's patchouli, patchouli will last until the dawn of time. We could have a nuclear war, patchouli would last. I don't know what it is about patchouli, but yeah, it lasts forever. But most of your herbs anywhere from 6 months to a year. And oils, depending on the oil, that's a whole nother thing that I'm going to get into on the aromatherapy show when I do the aromatherapy show. Because when you're making essential oils yourself, there are a lot of different guidelines that you have to use for different oils. So I will get into that though when I do the aromatherapy. But 6 months to a year on your herbs, check them. If you haven't used them in a year, it's time to dump those and get new herbs, because they're probably not going to be all that potent anymore. So we were talking about tools that you use basically with this path. There is some tools you use, a few. A staff or a walking stick. It's not only helpful when you're walking in the natural world, but it's also symbolic as a world tree, which helps you connect the material and spiritual realms. Pairing the staff to a knife, the staff supports and serves, and the knife severs and harvests. These are the two symbols that are opposite and complementary, kind of like a yin and yang, basically. The Earth Witch uses both and honors the connection and serving, as well as the unity and separation, because they are part of the cycle of life found in nature. Cotton or gauze. This is another big thing. It's useful to carry with you when you're out walking in nature. You can use it to roll in your herbs in when you're harvesting them. Instead of bagging them, it helps preserve the more fragile ones. It's also good to carry in case you cut yourself. Carrying a small first aid kit is not always a bad idea either, because, it happens. We go to cut something and we end up cutting ourselves. And finally, power bags. These are similar to gree and mojo bags. Over time, you'll begin to develop personal connections to little items, such as stones, acorns, pine cones, stuff like that. You may want to carry these items with you. You can sew them or purchase small little bags and put these items in so you can take them with you. Those are some of the things that we use. Now onto your home as an Earth Witch. You'll want to create an environment that supports harmony, communication, and the natural flow of energy. This is a great tool in your work. If the home is disorganized, your balance and the balance of the energies are going to be off. So there's a few tips you can use to make your home a sacred space. These will help keep positive energy flowing through your home. How you decorate will say a lot about you. Your colors of your walls, your furniture, the placement of furniture, pictures, these all have effect on how the energy will move through a room and through your home. You want to walk through each of your rooms and figure out what would make the energy flow better. Paint, if you can or want to, with colors that feel right to you. There is no specific guideline for this. Remove things that are outdated or are no longer useful. These are very things that can be causing energy blockages in your home. You can have a yard sale. You could donate them to help others. You can, go to shelters if it's clothing, because I do the closet thing, spring cleaning closet thing. You can donate those to a shelter in your nearby area. If it's household items, shelters are always looking for those as well, especially for people who are trying to transition out, needing household items for their new apartments and stuff like that. Just go through and what you can sell and you want to sell, sell. If you want to give it away, give it away. Pictures should have an effect on you as well. Take a look at the colors and people in them. Do they make you feel happy or do they make you want to scream? Make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're looking at and peaceful. So if you've got pictures up from the daughter's first husband's wedding or whatever the case may be, and it just makes you want to scream, take it down. Take it down. If you have, relatives up just because they've passed and you feel the need to, keep them up just because they're, they've passed on and you're showing, that, okay, I respect you. If they make you want to scream, take them down. Hang things that make you happy. Place a theme or a purpose on each room. When you have a living room set as your office, your workout room, and also your children's toys, you can see a lot of conflicting energies. You want to try to keep each room as separate as possible in their uses. If you do have a room that's a dual purpose room, try to maintain 2 separate areas for it. Keep things in their proper place. Keeping it clean is a big deal. Making sure that everything has its own place and keeping it as dust and clutter free as possible. In regards with colors, does that include your clothes? With clothing, I have found I wear a lot of black and gray and white, and that's just me. I'm a black, gray, white. I am the Eeyore. It's not that I'm depressed. I'm Eeyore. If I am in a depressed mood, though, I have found that if you put on a brighter color, or you do your hair, or you put on some makeup, or whatever the case may be, a lot of times just brightening things up will put you in a better mood. So yes, it can actually cross over to clothes too. I mean, if you want to change your whole life and you've decided you want to change your clothing too, why not? Why not? Go for it. I mean, I know plenty of women who get out of relationships and color their hair and cut their hair and change their whole self, and men who go through midlife crises who buy these, fancy sports cars. Why not? If it makes you happy, go for it, you know? Yeah, clutter is always around, and it is. And I've gotten really good. I'm really glad that I played Tetris when I was a child because I now can play Tetris at home. So I have, tables that have tablecloths over them, and it's got Tetris things underneath them that you'd never know were there. So closets are stacked quite interestingly to where I can fit a lot into a closet. Totes are a wonderful thing, and I'm one of those people that if it doesn't have a spot, it doesn't stay. I'm not a clutter queen. I can't handle it. I hate dusting. I absolutely hate dusting. So, I mean, if it's something that I'm going to have to dust and it's really not doing anything for me, it's going. I don't like the clutter. Clutter is just, ugh. Cleaning and purifying. That's also another great way to keep the good energy flowing. That would be smudging, incenses, scented candles, and even natural air sprays can help with keeping the energy positive as well. You could be washing down the walls with pine or sage water. You could be doing the same thing with your floors. You want to let in bright new beginnings, positive energies into your home. Don't forget to clean your windows, your curtains, your blinds. Natural sunlight is a great bringer of positive energy. So if you have windows that you can open them. Let that light in. Sunlight is actually one of the greatest, cleansers and brighteners. So let that light in. Add potted plants to a room or a few candles. Amazingly enough, well, except if you have a cat that likes to eat them. The plants anyway, not the candles. At least not yet anyway. Even throw pillows covered in a fabric that you find peaceful or happy can make a big change to a room. You do not have to absolutely change out an entire room. You can add things to it just to brighten it up. As far as cleaning and purifying your home, you want to start with your cleaning products. You can add a bit of magic to them just by empowering them. Fill them with your energy associated with the goal you have in mind. And this is easier than you think. You can hold that product in your hand or hands, or you could hold your hands above it. You want to close your eyes, take 3 or 4 deep breaths to calm and balance yourself first. Then concentrate on the energy you want in this product to help you reach your goal. If you're looking for happiness, you want to focus on that. Peace, focus on that. Visualize it flowing through your arms and hands and into the product and see it being absorbed. Now when you use it, this will be filling the area with the working of the energy that you want. So, I mean, you can use your regular cleaning products, your Windex. Grab your Windex. Well, or you can use like I use, which is vinegar and water. And you want to focus your energy on that, on what you want it to do. Do you want to have a brighter house? Well, you're going to clean your windows with it anyway. You want more lightness in your house. Less heavy energy, more lighter energies, Focus that on that. And when you use it, that energy that you've focused and put into that product is going to go out into the rest of your home as well. Other than just dirt and dust, there are energies that need to be cleared away too. Like I stated earlier, you can use smudging or incense, and a classic way is to sweep it away. You can use a witch's broom. This is not like your regular kitchen broom. This is one that's made of real straw bristles. Do not use a plastic or a nylon broom. You can make your own. You can purchase one at a craft store. They're really not that expensive either. You can get them at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, just about anywhere. This is a broom that you will not use for regular cleaning. To use this broom, you stand in the middle of the room that you're going to clean, holding the broom in both your hands. You take 3 deep breaths to calm yourself and then begin making a sweeping motion from right to left. Do not touch the floor with it. You want to keep it about an inch above the floor just because you're sweeping away energy, not dirt. You want to turn to your left and walk around the room counterclockwise. This is to break up and banish the negative energy. As you do this, you want to visualize the energy being broken up and transformed into positive energy. You can do this through the entire room until you reach the door. Easy way to break up some of that heavy energy that you'll feel in your home. When you decorate, you can bring the natural energy into your home in many different ways. You can decorate using the 4 elements. You could have 4 different ones throughout your home, which is what I have. An air altar in the bedroom, an earth in the living room are examples, water in the bathroom, fire in the kitchen. Those are different ways you could break them up. They could be created by different energies like prosperity and abundance. These are all very personal and about what you as the individual want in your sacred space to feel and look like. There's no right or wrong way to do this, only however what feels right to you. Earth spirits are very important to this path as well. They are intelligence or awareness attached to a particular place, plant, tree, natural object, or even a specific type of weather. They are sometimes called devas or fairies. How you visualize these spirits is a personal experience. Some see tiny people, others see orbs of light. You may not see them, but just sense them. The key to working with these spirits is to be open to what they offer you without preconceived ideas. Never presume you know something or assume you are correct or even take anything at face value. You need to take in the information through the energy in your senses. You always want to maintain contact with your physical environment. It is all about the here and now, knowing the energies moving through it. Always be aware of your own energy and your own mental and emotional state. Also, researching the past is a great way to connect with your environment. This does not mean in just the craft or the path. History books, geography books, geological studies, and even botanical information for your area. You can look around where you live, your neighborhood. How do the seasons change? What changes do you see and feel? What influences does the moon have on you? Do you know what phase the moon is in now? Can you name 10 wild plants that grow in your neighborhood? Were they imported or did they grow there naturally? What was the most common tree in your area? What is the wildlife? Do you have hard or soft tap water? What kind of soil is around your home and your area? These are all questions that you can find out through your library, through books, through the internet. That'll bring you closer to nature around your home. Taking the time to learn about your surroundings will help you connect with the earth as well. You can write all this information down in your journal. This is one of the reasons why you keep a journal. Take your journal out on a walk and you can make notes of what you hear, what you see, what you smell. These are senses that connect you with energy that's all around you. If you have no idea how to do this, you can start small on learning to connect with the energies around you. Find a stone or a plant you're familiar with. Hold it in your hand. Take 3 or 4 deep breaths to calm yourself. Now, how does the stone or plant feel to the touch? How does it smell? What does it look like? And do you get any sensation of how it tastes? Now, that does not mean taste it. Okay, don't actually taste it. You should be able to get some kind of taste from the air. You can do this with a few different stones or plants. You can try it with ones that are unfamiliar to you. Write down what you feel and all of the answers to your questions. As you do this more and more, you'll see how each plant or stone or whatever is different and how in some cases they're all the same. So when you're working with the energies, it's important for you to learn how to ground yourself as well. Grounding means connecting your personal energy to the earth and allowing a rebalancing to occur. If you're nervous or excited, you may have too much energy. If you're tired or dizzy, you may not have enough. There are many forms of grounding and each person will have something that works and some that don't. This is very personal as well. Some people will imagine tree roots growing from their bodies deep into the earth. Others may see green or white light that passes from their core down into the earth and releasing energy. They may see it leave from the top of their heads. It's all a personal preference. It's always good to do some type of grounding when you get up in the morning as well and before you go to bed. And once you've learned how to do it, you'll be able to use it anytime you need it. So a lot of what Earth Magic or earth witches, I should say, work with is the 4 elements as well as energies. They represent the raw material of nature and of the earth. Flow and interaction of these elements from the basis of change, transformation, growth, and evolution, and development in the environment and in our own lives. Traditional associations are earth would be for grounding, abundance, receptive and passive. Air is for communication, intellect, projection, and active. Fire you would use for working with passion, creativity, protective, and active. And water is used for emotion, sensitivity, receptive, and passive. Invoking an element. This is to draw energy to you and your environment. It can be done to aid you with a project that you're working on or some of the other associations like that. Some of the elements that you can work with earth, if you're going to invoke some kind of element of earth. Some of the associations for it are fields, seeds, salts, crystals, wisdom, warmth and comfort, leaves, corn and grain, death, mystery, darkness, winter, peace, forest, crops, harvest, soil, rock, blossom, fruit, midnight, black, green, silence, metal, bones, gnomes, prosperity, fertility, gems and stones, trees, and rest. These are all associated with the earth. For air, you have wind, birds, thought, voice, intuition, feathers, chimes, movement, flow, imagination, drawn, spring, sound, a staff, arrows, butterflies, winged fairies, breath, new beginnings, communication, inspiration, intellect, logic, hurricanes, circulation, aspirations, visualizations, childhood, wand, spear, and flying insects. These are all associated with air. Associations with fire would be light, cooking, creation, creativity, passion, energy, life, summer, strength, willpower, noon, the staff, the sword, heart, burn, protection, destruction, inspiration, transformation, like the phoenix, lust, blood, growth, intention, fertility, the wand, the knife, and anger. With water, blessings, psychic energy, visions, introspection, the chalice, flow, current, oceans, streams, cleansing, emotions, autumn, cup, cauldron, tides, seas, rivers, ponds, lakes, snow, hail, mirrors, sensuality, green, life, rain, reflections, circulation, blue, transportation, nourishment, and merpeople. These are all associated with water. Earth witches are free to celebrate all or none of any holiday they choose. The 4 seasons allow us to formally recognize the flow of energy and honor it that way. Some will sit and meditate on the first day of each season. It's important to feel the rise and fall of seasonal energies as well. This is also one of the keys to harmonizing with the earth and nature. Nature has rhythms, and so do we. Harmonizing your own personal rhythms with that of your environment maximizes your connection with nature so you can communicate with it more clearly. The weather itself has a great influence over environment and personal energy as well. And we all know that you get that wonderful wintertime blues from being stuck in the house and vitamin D deficiencies and everything else. So yeah, I mean, seasons will affect us just as much as they affect the world around us. Tides of the year also have a seasonal echo in the cycle of inner life as well. Spring equinox to summer solstice is called the growing tide. The summer solstice to the autumn equinox is called the reaping tide. The autumn equinox to the winter solstice is called the resting tide. And the winter solstice to the spring equinox is called a cleansing tide. These 4 tides can be seen as stages in our lives as well. They're a good time to look inside yourself and see all nature reflected there. Earth witches work with other elements besides earth, nature, and earthly energies as well. They will work with the sun, the moon, and the stars. And there is also zodiac energy correspondences that work for the solar energies as well. Aries is for action and new beginnings. So if you're in an Aries moon, you can work on spells for actions and new beginnings. Taurus, manifestations, material things, and physical comfort. Gemini, communication and intellectual work. Cancer is good for family, nurturing, and the home. Leo is very good for success, luxury, and leadership. Virgo for practicality and organization. Libra for society and people. Scorpio is great for passion and justice. Sagittarius, study and explorations. Capricorn for business and foundation. Aquarius for inventions and innovations. And Pisces is good for spirituality and mysticism. So these are different moon cycles that you can work on different things as well. At different times of the year, these add a dash of flavor to the solar energies as well. They last approximately 30 days and then move into the next constellation. The moon is more associated with the mysterious side of witchcraft. Traditionally, the energies from the moon are associated with feminine power, dreams, psychic abilities, mystery and hidden knowledge, travel, children, spirituality, mysticism, the seas and the oceans, and transformation. Phases of the moon can hold an important part, especially for plants and herbs as well. Basic gardening rules are applied to the phases of the moon as well, and this has been going on for centuries. In general, you want to plant things that grow above the ground on the waxing moon, and plant things that grow below the ground, like potatoes and carrots and stuff like that, on the waning moon. There are a few other guidelines if you're going to be an earth witch with a garden. New to first quarter, you want to plant your leafy annuals and your herbs. Your first quarter to the full moon, you want to plant your flowering annuals, your above ground veggies, and your fruits and vines. Full to third quarter is when you plant your perennials, your root veggies, and bulbs. The third quarter to the dark is when you do your weeding, your maintaining, your cultivating, and fighting the pests and diseases that tend to plague gardens. So if you can pay attention to the moon phases, you can determine a good time to perform spiritual and secular activities in your garden as well that will correspond to the phases of the life in a plant. I absolutely recommend the Old Farmer's Almanac. It just is amazing. I have been working out of one forever, and right now I'm working out of one that is traditional home remedies from the Farmer's Almanac that I'm working out of. For gardening and stuff, it is amazing. You don't need a so-called pagan book. The Farmer's Almanac is actually a great thing. An almanac is absolutely wonderful to have. And if you have a calendar that has moon phases on it, because a lot of the calendars do have the moon phases right on them, that will help you too. Because you can look through your calendar and figure out when you want to do your planting and harvesting and stuff like that as well with your moon calendars and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, almanacs are a wonderful thing. I'm a book fiend anyway. So, I hoard them and horrible. And anything that can help. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pagan book. If it's just a book that's going to help you with whatever path you're on, whether it's a pagan path or not, by all means, go with the book. If it's a book just on moon phases, or it's a book on just herbs in general itself. I do have herb books that are not pagan related. They're actually just for information on herbs, because I do a lot with herbs. So, I mean, books are awesome. Books, knowledge. Knowledge is power. They really are. Some of the moon things you can do are new moons. You can do your seeds. So if you're going to be doing seeds, planting from scratch with seeds, you want to do those on a new moon. Crescent moons are great if you're planting shoots and sprouts. Waxing moon if you're planting fruits. Waning moon, this is a great time to harvest. If you're going to be doing any harvesting on your plants, even if it's your herb plants, you can wait till a waning moon to harvest. Dark moons are great for cutting down your dead plants to prepare them for new growth. Also use your astrological signs for working in your garden as well, because earth witches use the astrological stuff too. Planting in moons that are in Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Harvesting in moons of Aries, Gemini, and Leo. You can cultivate in moons in Virgo, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. So, you're using your moons a lot in earth witchcraft. You really do. You use the seasons, you use the moons. It's not so much the wheel of the year type of thing. It's more just the seasons and the moons and stuff like that you use. And just as in kitchen witchcraft, which I'm going to talk about next week, herbs and plants are commonly used in infusions. And an infusion is the process of which leaves or flowers are steeped for a period of time in water. of a certain temperature depending on what you're making. And it creates the weakest extraction of herbs and works best with the most fragile plants. So these are not getting really boiled. These are normally cold infusions, or if they're boiled, they're not boiled for very long. A decoction, if someone says, well, we need a decoction, this is taking a denser herb material and boiling it in water for a certain period of time. This works best with roots and barks and creates a stronger extraction of what you're trying to get out of the herbs. Effleurage. This is where oils and energy are extracted by soaking the herb in an oil or a fat, either heated or at a room temperature. The result is an essential oil. At a room temperature, it'll pompade if it solidifies. This is where your lip balms and stuff come into. The strength of your oil is going to depend on how long you saturate this herbal matter and how frequently you change the depleted herbal matter. The stronger you want it, the more you have to change it. These are used externally because they are the highest concentration of herbal matter, and they're commonly combined with a carrier oil. You can use almond oils or vegetable oils and stuff like that, depending on which essential oil you're using. Maceration is where an herbal matter is steeped in alcohol or glycerin. It's also called a tincture. These are commonly used for medicinal purposes, usually by adding a couple of drops to a water, a tea, or a honey. It can be used magically as well. Tinctures will last many more years than dried herbs. Dried herbs tend to lose their flavor and magical potency after 1 to 3 years, depending on the herb, and tinctures preserve the herbal extracts for almost 2 times that shelf life. So they can last anywhere from 2 to 6 years if you make them as a tincture. There are a variety of ways to apply herbal energies, both magically and medicinally. Mixing the liquids I mentioned with another base will give you other options as well. Salves are created by melting beeswax and adding a liquid, usually an oil, to it and then allowing it to cool. These salves can be rubbed on the body or onto an object. Liniments are more of a liquid that are alcohol-based and designed to be rubbed briskly on the body. These are used more for circulation and muscle strain. Soaps, these will take your liquid extracts and combine them with a base of fats designed to raise dirt from the surface. Magical soaps can also pull negative and undesired energies from an object or a person and wash it away. Then it leaves the desired energies behind. Making herbal incense is also another one of the many things an earth witch does. These are always made with dried herbs. They're loose or powdered, burned on a special charcoal. And before you blend an incense, it's important to find out what flowers or herbs are best for what you're trying to achieve. If it's poisonous, don't touch it or eat it. And if it is poisonous to the touch and eating, it's probably going to be poisonous if you burn it. So you're not going to want to burn it either. Don't use it for burning. While the release of certain energies is your goal, it's also advisable to add 1 or more resins to the base of your herbal incense. Some of the resins are copal. This comes in white, gold, or black, and the scent is slightly different for each kind. Your gold is the most common. The energy it carries is good for love, house blessings, dedications, meditations, protections, celebrations, solar energies, and creating a sacred space. So yeah, test burn outside always, and never, ever, ever put saltpeter into something you're going to burn. Saltpeter, when it is burned, is extremely toxic. Burned saltpeter is very, very poisonous when you burn it. Frankincense, another great resin. It's one of the most popular ones. It's a slightly spicy, sweet scent, and it is a great all-purpose base. It's associated with sanctity, purification, meditation, protection, joy, celebration, solar energy, and consecration. Myrrh, also common. This has a slightly bitter scent. It's associated with sanctity, honoring the dead and the spirit world, purification and healing, and it will also add extra power to any herbal incense. So if you're looking for something with a little oomph, throw some myrrh in there. Benzoin is usually in powder form, and it has a light, clean, slightly sweet scent. It's excellent for purification, healing, prosperity, and attraction in general. Styrax, sometimes called storax, is a black, softer resin that's great for healing and grounding. Dragon's blood, this is a red resin. It's remarkably sticky and will cling to your tools. It really will. It's frequently used for protection, purification, and is a general all-around, boost to anyone you're going to use. Sandalwood isn't technically an incense, a resin, but a powdered or shredded wood. It comes both in red and white, and it's generally used for spirituality, purification, meditation, peace, healing, and protection. So those are some of the things that you can use as well for a base for your herbal incense. When you're creating a recipe for herbal incense, you want to look at the purpose you're creating it for and select the combination of herbs, flowers, and resins that support the goal with those energies. For example, if you're going to make a prosperity incense, you may include 1 part benzoin as the base with 1 part herbal blend of mint, basil, and cinnamon, because these are all associated with prosperity. There's no firm rule on how many or how few you can blend. Just keep in mind that the scents have to complement each other as well as the energies. The basic step to blending incense is easy. If necessary, you want to gently grind that resin if it's big into smaller granules, but you don't want to over grind it either. Crumble or powder your dried herbs and place them in a jar with the resin. Cap it tightly and shake it until well blended. You don't want to forget to write down your recipe in your journal and always label the jar with the contents and the date you made it in. You can also further enhance it by adding 3 drops of essential oil to it. You can use an oil of an herb already in the blend, or you can use a totally different oil scent. Do not use more than 3 drops or the herbs will get too wet and sticky to burn. But once it's mixed, you can use it right away or let it sit and allow the energies to bind for a week or so. When you're burning loose incense, you always want to make sure you use special charcoal in a fireproof container. And you will need no more than a teaspoonful at a time. It will burn until it's gone and create a bit more smoke than a regular stick or cone incense. So if you have stick or cone incense and that's already too much smoke, you're probably not going to want to use loose incense. And always store your incense in a tightly sealed jar and out of direct sunlight. And that goes for your sticks or cones as well. You want to make sure that they're sealed tightly and out of sunlight. I do have a few suggestions before I close out the show for some different blends that I've found work really well. If you want to do a happiness blend, you can mix your frankincense as your base, use that resin, with lemon and orange. It actually is a really nice scent. For harmony, you can mix lavender, white sandalwood powder, and jasmine. For health, myrrh is your base with benzoin, and then add hyssop and eucalyptus. For love, copal resin with rose, jasmine, and cinnamon. Those smell awesome together. For peace, you can use frankincense as your base and lavender and violet. For prosperity, frankincense again as the base with pine, basil, mint, and cinnamon. And last but not least, for a protection incense, if you want to do a protection incense, dragon's blood is your base with rosemary and clove. Those actually smell really good together too. But that is my show. Thank you for listening to me. I hope everybody has a great night.